Welcome to the future, where the glass is half full and you'll need new glasses, where you'll be jumping from conclusions.
The past is annulled, and a new future is born.
Never before in history has so much meant so little to so many. AD on the radio.
It's you and the senorita. Whooper blowing up the tweeter, cause it's me up in the speaker. Back in the mama seat, top down like a player. And the sound up in your ears, it is the dopest rhyme. Say I run a game like a cheater.
So at the beginning of this election cycle, when we were staring down the barrel of an election year, before 2016 was really here, before the idea even became a possibility, before we were faced with the reality of who might actually be the commander-in-chief, the president of the United States of America, the president of these United States of America, the leader of the free world. Before we were faced with the reality of all that and things started out, there were a couple things that were a little off, a little amiss, a little awry with the situation. Namely, there were more GOP presidential hopefuls than you could hope to shake a stick at. They had to separate them into two debates, and they called the people that weren't doing well enough the kids' table. It was crazy. But that was the craziest thing about it. What was kind of interesting at the time was that despite the fact that very early on, some candidates, whose names may or may not rhyme with Schmump, were sucking up a lot of the oxygen in the political room. That much I can tell you. I can tell you that. But, you know, besides that, there was this sort of dignified tone to what was going on. Everybody was talking about being the best version of themselves that they could be. Everyone was talking about America being the best version of itself it could be. People were running on their own virtues, their own records, their own attributes. There was some civil disagreement. There was some back and forth. Yeah, there was some discourse. But overall, I was kind of impressed. I was like, wow, you got this many people vying for airtime. And folks are getting along. Donald Trump was seen as this somewhat reasonable guy, little out there, little crazy. I mean, hey. You got into Twitter feuds with Rosie O'Donnell. Well, yeah, but Ronald Reagan got his start playing second fiddle to a monkey in a movie called Bedtime for Bonzo. I guess that's true. And you know what? He's saying some stuff that we really want to hear, and we're really bored of politicians, and maybe this is the way forward, was the thought in a lot of people's minds. And then somehow, and I can't really pinpoint the place where the wheels fell off. Somehow we got into this situation where, quite frankly, I could be elected president. I've got really big hands and I'm awesome at yo mama jokes. Vote me, because that appears to be what it takes in this day and age. It went from being this vaguely sort of enlightened conversation, this way of conducting oneself that was vaguely befitting someone who was eyeing the most powerful political office on the face of the planet. It went from that which held in mind the decorum necessary to be president of the United States of America to his junk is tiny. Let me tell you, my junk is huge. He has a spray tan. He's a loser. And it's not limited to the one person that everybody blames this on. Everybody's jumping in the fray. Everybody is acting like petulant children. Everyone's talking over one another. Everyone is not just acting like a child. Everyone's acting like a child that should be sent to their room with a bar of soap in their mouth. We are one debate away from what would you do about the hostage situation in the Middle East? Well, first, let me say this. Zip, flop, pretty impressive, huh? That's where we're at in American politics today. That's our presidential process. That's why the rest of the world is looking at us like we're picking fleas off of one another and eating them. That's why the rest of the world looks at America at the moment, looking at what's going on as people race to the White House. That's why the rest of the world is looking at America at the moment and like, you know what, America, you're like a drunk 16-year-old that just got handed the keys to a Lamborghini and you're about to crash it in to the freaking wall, which is why it makes perfect sense that Jerry Springer is talking about getting into the race. Jerry Springer says he's prepared to be president of the United States of America. And you know what? Let's not forget, he's got more political experience than some of the people that were asking to be taken seriously. He was a mayor of Cincinnati, Ohio. He spent the last 25 years hosting one of the United States' most famous talk shows, and he said it'd be unlikely to consider, but he would serve if a Draft Jerry movement, which is already in existence, gained enough steam. What did he say about what would happen if he actually did run for president? It's weird that Jerry Springer is a voice of freaking reason in politics at the moment, but I'll share it with you next. Thank you so much for hanging out. Tonight, you're cutting loose and having fun, 'cause that's my job, and my job's about to get done. Yeah, that's how I'm operating, and I beg motherfucker for cooperating when I say, put your hands up, touch the sky. If you're really feeling really good, then wave them from side to side.
Where the left and right come together for fundamental truths. AD on the radio, on Twitter at ADSXE.
I do what I want, when I want, how I want. Every day you're going and working, running that rat race at that pace in that place will leave a bad taste for anyone, everyone working day after day. So buddy, I gotta say, yo, there's gotta be a better way, yeah. And you do what they told ya, company man, feel it, a mindless little soldier. How can you live like that and maintain your composure before it's begun? Your life's already freaking over, yeah. I do what I want.
So I don't mean to be this fire and brimstone talk show host that goes, these are dark times. Who are we right now? I don't mean to be that guy. But I will say this, hold on to who you are. Know who you are. Know what your values are. Know who the hell you are, what's important to you, because you're a good person. It's very important in this day and age to separate American politics and American government from the American people. You know who the hell you are. You know what's important. You're a good person. You know where your moral compass's true north points. Follow that. Hold on to that identity. You know who you are. You know what is right. You know what is wrong. And the reason I'm imploring you to do that is because it's very easy to lose sight of that in this day and age. We are living in a world where, like I said earlier in the show, the vast majority of people vying for the prime spot in the White House at the moment are acting like I said, not just petulant children, but petulant children that you would send to their room for a timeout with a bar of soap in their mouth at the moment. And it's Looney Tunes that the voice of reason in this day and age, the most reasonable commentary I've heard with regard to politics, come from Jerry Springer and Kid Rock. Kid Rock went on the record saying it's not that big a deal. It's just who you're voting for. We don't have to hate each other just because we vote differently. Who cares? We can still be friends. We're all, let's remember this. We're all still Americans. Yep. He endorses a candidate. He feels strongly about politics. But you know what? He's not going to let that get in the way of him getting along with other people and being a human being and being respectful of people that think differently than he does. No, it's not. That's the voice of reason. The stone cold pimp of the nation, Mr. Ba with the Ba, Mr. I am the bull god. That is the voice of reason in this country. And you know what? So's Jerry Springer. Is it any more ridiculous to consider Jerry Springer for president than it is Donald Trump? I mean, let's go back and check out his track record. At the very least, he's been a politician. He was a mayor of Cincinnati. He's got his own show. 25 years of hosting one of the United States' most famous talk shows. And there's a small grassroots, nothing will ever come of this, movement called Draft Jerry, which is imploring him to be president. And he said he would serve if a Draft Jerry movement gained steam. He said, my passion has always been political. I am still active. But he said, if I ever ran against Trump, there really would be a wall built on the Mexican border. You'd have to build a wall to keep Americans from trying to get out. Anyways, he also went on the record saying, running the country is not a crazy television show. It's supposed to be serious. It's our country. It's our lives. So there you go. 2016. The year where the cooler heads that we wish would prevail belong to Kid Rock and Jerry Springer. And our candidates are, whatever the hell they are. Hey, does Ted Cruz have a smoking gun? Does he have some evidence? Some scandalous evidence that will take Trump down at the 11th hour? That's what we've been led to believe, and we'll get into that story a little later on in the show. Right now, though, let's check in with super producer Barry Funkhauser. What is going on in the world? Let's do the news.
This is My Witness News. In no way, shape, or form fair and certainly not balanced. And now, super producer to the stars, Barry Funkhauser.
Oh, yeah.
So impressive. So impressive. Not in a Donald Trump sort of way, but impressive nevertheless. That intro is huge. The legendary voice of Shadoe Stevens, that for some reason has lowered himself to do our imaging on this show, is our equivalent of a presidential zip flop.
Yeah, thanks, pal.
Yeah, thank you, Shadoe, for making us sound more important than we actually are. Funkhauser, in your never-ending quest to lead a life that is way more interesting than everybody else's, tell me what you did last night.
Oh, I went and saw an AGT taping last night in my beautiful home
America's
Pasadena.
Get down, Dina.
Yeah.
America's Got Talent. Mm-hmm. Simon Cowell was there. Who's hosting it now? Simon Cowell replaced Howard Stern, right?
Simon Cowell's there, right? He's the one who pushes all the exits. Everyone else is much friendly. Howie Mandel, Mel B, and Heidi Klum.
Really? No more Sharon Osbourne.
Nah, that was a long time ago.
Yeah. She bailed. Didn't the network say something about one of her kids that she didn't like, or there was some? Yeah,
I don't remember.
Yeah, I can't remember. All I know is no Howard Stern equals AD no Wachi. But it was good. Like, I mean, you do this thing. How many television experiences is this that you've had in the last couple of months?
Not keeping track. Several.
Yeah. Funkhauser's got so much television time logged that, like, they've got this thing called I think it's called a Q rating. Have you heard of this?
Huh?
Like, you're in show business in California. I think a Q rating is like a score that you get depending on how many times you've been on TV on a regular basis. And Funkhauser's is getting right up there. It's impressive stuff. We'll do the news when we get back. And the news will, of course, be Funkhauser's life, more interesting than ours. More at 11.
Don't get the blues, get all the news. We mean all of you guys out there in Radioland. All aboard!
He's back. AD on the radio.
Give it up, yeah. Give it up, yeah. Bring this on, come on, come on. That's the way you do what we do. That's the way you do what we do. That's the way you do what we do. You do what we do. You do what we do. That's the way you do what we do. That's the way you do what we do. That's the way you do what we do. You do what we do. You do what we do. Well, it's a new one. Here I come again, coming again, taking it back to the place where I'm picking up the pen and.
So we'll get into the news in just a second, but I got two very well thought out tweets from Roy Shelton. I said that I don't want to be the type of talk show host that goes, "These are dark times. Who are we now?" And he was like, "Come on, you want to bust out the impersonation." And I was actually, who's the guy that says these are dark times? Who are we? That's more Glenn Beck, right? Like, who are we? There are dark times ahead. I can see over the horizon. That's like Glenn Beck's shtick. He's like the Nostradamus of 2016, and he asked who we are now. By the way, I really enjoy Glenn Beck. Whenever I listen to him, I think out of all the talk showy hosts that are going, I think I enjoy him the most because he's got those old school radio chops. He really knows how to spin a yarn. I got a lot more time for Glenn Beck than a lot of people assume I would. Not that it matters one freaking iota to Glenn, but if I had to pick a guy that I was going to listen to, that would be him, but I think the Prophet of Doom thing belongs to him. Roy Shelton wanted me to bust out the impersonation, what the mainstream media doesn't want you to know. And that, this much I can tell you, I can do that. What the mainstream media doesn't want you to know. What I've come to realize when it comes to doing impersonations of Rush Limbaugh is that he's essentially a Muppet, sort of like a cross between Rolf the dog and Yoda. Like he sort of like messes with the grammatical structure of his sentences, where instead of saying like the Obama says this, Obama says that,
the dark side he is.
See, you wouldn't.
I wonder
know,
whatever happened to him.
What, Rush Limbaugh or Yoda?
Yeah.
Well, I think Rush Limbaugh is doing really well, and we're expected to see more of Yoda as the various Star Wars movies roll out. I really wish I could do full impersonations. Like, you know what, I can do a Donald Duck, but all I can do is sneeze like Donald Duck.
Uh-oh.
But if I try and say
Gesundheit.
Thank you. But I can't say thank you. Anyways, I can do like a little bit of Donald Duck, and I can do a little bit of Rush Limbaugh. I can't say full sentences, but I can go, Obama, and everybody knows who I'm doing. Or I can go, well, the mainstream media doesn't want you to know. But I can't do, like, if you said go on and do a show as Rush Limbaugh. Couldn't do it. The other tweet that Roy sent me, we were talking about the fact that, look, the American political process in 2016, by which we are deciding who's going to be leader of the free world, is utterly freaking ridiculous. And he brought up an excellent point. He said the funny thing is the media created this process by pandering to the Trump-Clinton antics. And you know what? I 100% agree with Roy Shelton. Here's the thing. And we've talked about this on the show before. The ratings for the debates in this election cycle have been through the roof, like higher than cable news has ever gotten ever before. Forget other debates. It's been absolutely insane. Why? Because of the crazy town factor. People go like, oh, let's see it. They've been talking about their junk for the last couple of debates. Is this the time someone actually whips it out? Like, that is the thought process. So, like, I'm definitely going to watch. And, like, here's the thing. It's ratings. It's advertising. And I think that's despicable. I think that's so uncool. Like, when the first, and I'll never forget what I thought. When the first GOP debate happened, I'm in the studio, and there's different cable packages that are applied to different TVs in different rooms at the radio station, and the newsroom gets everything. Meanwhile, I'm at the rock station, and I'm like punching around looking for the debate. I'm like, oh, wait a second. We don't get Fox News in here. I guess they're saving money by not putting that as part of the cable package that reaches this room.
Saving money. Mm.
Sure, saving money. And then I realized, I was like, how effed up is it that you have to, and like I tried, like I looked on Periscope, I looked on every streaming service, and like, boy, the folks over at Fox were quick to shut everything down. Like, you know, if there was someone streaming it out there, if there was a kid in Uganda aiming their phone at a TV, they managed to shut down that stream lickety-split. You could not watch it anywhere. You could not watch it anywhere if you did not subscribe to Fox News. And what if you're a cord cutter? What if you're like Funkhauser? What if you're like Snippety Snip? I no longer need your cable package. I'm just going to stream all of my entertainment. Or what if you couldn't afford cable? I was like, this excludes people that don't have Fox News from a very important part of our political process. That's not how things are meant to be, but there's money and there's ratings tied up in it. And that is why Roy Shelton, who pointed this out, is exactly right. There's huge dollars. I am sick of talking about politics. I am over it. But, you know, it's what's on people's minds, so we talk about it. And you know what? There is always something new and interesting to discuss every single day, but I'm not making extra money off of it. We talk about it because it's on people's minds. But you know what? There are people that are profiting, huge media corporations that are profiting like you wouldn't freaking believe by selling advertising on the clown car that has become our political process and this day and age. And you know what? That's so effed up. That's so wrong because it excludes other people. You're making subscription fees. You're making advertising dollars. And that's been the whole thing. You know, that discourse between Megan Fox and Donald Trump where they were poking each other and prodding at each other in this huge war of words. And it was like Frazier and Ali getting ready to square off when they were eventually in the same room again together. And that was, man, the flames of that fire were fanned by both Fox and Trump. And it's wrong. It's wrong. You should get half an hour on PBS. Everybody should be able to watch you. No one should be excluded. There shouldn't be anybody making money off of this. It's so effed up. I mean, look, Donald Trump is not really spending a whole lot of money on his campaign. Jeb Bush spent $127 million and bailed rather early in the proceedings. So it proves that money doesn't win elections in the way that it used to, but it does not mean that there's not dirty money tied up in politics anymore. It's just on the back end now, and that is so effed up. And Roy Shelton, you're so right. The media created this process because they're making money hand over fist on this. And yes, the media did create it, but we're the media. We're a bunch of morons. We're a bunch of C students operating satellite equipment, and we shouldn't be allowed to do so. But we are. It should be down to the people that are running for the office of president, the highest political office in the world, leader of the free world, that should be able to rise above and conduct themselves with a little bit of freaking decorum and let the media do the Weasley media things that Weasley media has always done to make money. But you are absolutely right. The media created this. The politicians should have risen above, but they have not. And yeah. Look, I'm part of the media, but I'm not part of that circus. I've got nothing to gain by this ridiculousness. I would rather talk about other things. But you know what? This is Story A every single freaking day when we walk in here. And yeah, it's fascinating. It's interesting. It's like a car wreck that you cannot look away from. But at the same time, people need to grow the hell up. So thank you, Roy Shelton, for your thoughtful tweet. All right, Funkouser, back to the news.
Well, nominees for the MTV Movie Awards were announced yesterday.
Yeah. Kind of like the Oscars, but with black people.
Not cool, dude.
What do you mean not cool?
Well, I guess cool.
It's movie awards, and there were black people nominated, I think. So it's like the Oscars, but with the black people. Go on, what else?
During the trial over his leaked sex tape, Hulk Hogan denied that he has a 10-inch package, brother. 10 inches, brother, denied.
All right, hold on. I think I've got the censored audio. Hulk Hogan admitted in court yesterday that he doesn't actually, you listen.
Do you have any doubt as you sit in that witness stand today that you were discussing the length of your
Well, it's not mine, because mine isn't that size, but we were discussing the length of Hulk Hogan's.
Seriously? So, you
No, seriously, I do not have a 10-inch. No, I do not. Seriously.
Okay, fair enough. So what you're telling us is you were discussing
Believe that,
Hulk
seriously.
Hogan's, right?
Excuse me?
You were discussing Hulk Hogan's.
Yeah, because Terry Bollea's is not 10 inches like you're trying to say.
All right.
Just so we're clear on that, Hulk Hogan denied that he's rocking.
My girlfriend's going to be so sad.
And you know what this means? This means Hulk Hogan can never be president. Go on.
Charlie Sheen has been claiming he is HIV free.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, maybe his Adonis DNA has made the... you know what? I think we are much, much closer now. Like, I haven't been following it. See, I have this thing where I don't inject drugs or have sex with people I don't know in an unprotected way. I don't put myself at risk. So I've never really been concerned about HIV. Like, God freaking forbid that you go to the dentist or get a blood transfusion or something like that and you wind up with HIV in that way. But overall, it's pretty easy not to get HIV. So I don't want to sound insensitive, but it's fear of that disease is not something that's ever really occupied any of my thought. On the odd occasion where I can get a female to let me see and or touch a boob, there has been so much testing that is a direct precursor to any of that happening. Like,
you got a whole casting department for that?
Not a casting department. I'm just a very big believer in, look, this is not the most rock and roll thing to say about sex, but I'm a big believer in being tested. I'm a big believer in monogamy.
That is the most rock and roll thing, I think.
Is it?
Yeah, all the smart people say that.
Well, you know, I mean, it leads to you not being able to see and touch as many boobs as you would like to, but it also leads to you not dying or your package not rotting and falling off. So, like I said, I'm a big believer in being safe and being tested and being monogamous and all those things. And for that reason, it's very easy for me to feel comfortable and confident that I'm not putting myself at risk for catching HIV. So it hasn't really occupied a whole bunch of my mind, but I hear they've made tremendous strides. I think they managed to make the HIV virus go away in a couple of situations, and this I believe was in newborns, and I'm not saying there's a cure for HIV. Hear me on this. But I believe they've made tremendous advances in this, and, you know, who knows? If there's anybody that's going to have access to the best treatment and the best drugs, it would be Magic Johnson. So, maybe, I don't know. But, like, maybe if you catch it earlier, I'm not sure. But if there's anybody that's going to have treatment to the access to the best treatment and the best drugs, second to Magic Johnson, it would probably be Charlie Sheen. He's got the money, he's got the doctors, he's very public, and any doctor that makes progress with Charlie Sheen is writing their own ticket on that one. So I'm going to guess it's not true, but fingers crossed that there's a possibility it might be. What else?
Geraldo Rivera will compete on the new season of Dancing with the Stars.
Can you look up how old Geraldo Rivera is?
I'm so into this. Come on, Geraldo. Nobody better throw a chair at this one.
Mm-hmm.
Hit him in the face. He is 72. 72.
And, like, wasn't it just like a year ago that he was taking shirtless selfies at age 72? Yeah. I mean, and look, why shouldn't a 72-year-old get in on the shirtless selfie game? If you are rocking an awesome 72-year-old physique that you are proud of, it's kind of cool to show it off.
And if you're that old and doing that, send us the picture on Twitter.
And send Funkhauser the picture on Twitter. I need to filter it through his eyes that have seen so much more than mine before I'm willing to look at it and risk turning to stone. But Geraldo... Like, I want to be like, yeah, you go, Geraldo. Like, you know, way to be 72 and still be up in the game. But there's something uncomfortable about it with him that, I don't know. Do you remember when he had that meltdown on TV and he was like, you're trying to make me look stupid and I don't like it. I don't like it. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's something about it. I don't know. And I respect and admire Geraldo. And if I have one tiny fraction of the career that he's ever had, I'll be driving a nicer car and living in a nicer house than I am now. But nevertheless, there's something uncomfortable about the whole situation with him at the moment. I hope he's got people around him that are looking out for him. Go on, what else?
Everybody, Backstreet's back. They're going to do a residency in Las Vegas.
Oh, really? The Backstreet Boys?
Yeah.
Doing a Las Vegas residency?
Come on with it.
You know what that means?
What?
More crab legs, please, Nick Carter. Thanks.
No, I'm not done with that. Leave that plate, please.
Yeah. This time, I don't know any Backstreet Boy. Is there one called CJ? It seems like there'd be one called CJ. Yeah. CJ, could you slice the prime rib a little thinner? Oh, look, the Backstreet Boys. They're all blackjack dealers at the Wynn now.
Palm trees, tonight it's all good in the 713. 713, I live in 212, now live in 713, well here I am.
Now, more AD on the radio.
Back once again, the ill behavior, delivering and giving you a musical savior. Back once again, it's your boy AD again, nobody rock a party better than me. Back once again, the ill behavior, delivering and giving you a musical savior. Back once again, it's your boy AD again, nobody rock a party better than me.
So, what is this smoking gun? What is this smoking gun? This piece of damning information that Ted Cruz says he's going to drop on Trump at the 11th hour? We'll get into that in just a little bit. Right now, though, let's finish what remains of the news. Funkhauser, take it away.
I'm looking forward to the Backstreet Boys residency still.
In Las Vegas?
Yeah.
What is What's a Backstreet Boys song?
Everybody, Backstreet's Back, all right?
Oh, I do know. You know what? When that song came out, I knew a bunch of like music production guys that were serious guys in the sort of like the edgy world of hip hop and rock. And when that song came out, like everyone was like, I got to admit, I sort of like that song. The bass line, the now, that like Backstreet's Back is. Do we know any other songs?
No.
Everybody. Yeah, rock your body. Yeah, why did they all sing through their noses? Like all those guys in the 90s, all the boy bands. Everybody, it's gonna be me. Like all those guys, like
well, they had the Janet Jackson
singing
microphones in there. I think they go up your nose, don't they?
Yeah. Everybody, yeah. Rock it. I should probably stop doing that now. Go on. What is in the news?
On National Women's Day, in one Chinese province, men wear life-size punching bags and let their women hit them.
Or, as Brad Pitt calls it, every damn day of my life. It was kind of nice. I got we did a thing on International Women's Day yesterday. Why? Because ladies, you are strong, you are beautiful, you are so much smarter than us, and without you, we are truly nothing. Without you, we would live dull, empty lives that smelled constantly of feet and farts. And I'm a man. It's not down to me to speak to the experience of a woman. I could never be so arrogant. So instead, we celebrated International Women's Day with some quotes. My favorite being Malala Yousafzai, this teenage girl, powerful role model for young women. She demanded an education while she was living under Taliban rule in Pakistan. She was shot in the head 3 times for standing up for her beliefs. She survived. She continues her activism. She's the youngest ever Nobel Prize laureate. And we quoted a bunch of women, but hers was my favorite, where she said, "Extremists have shown what frightens them the most, a girl with a book." But we did a bit on International Women's Day yesterday and quoted some eminently quotable women that we admire. And you know what? It was really kind of cool because I just thought that's sort of what you do. That's the right thing to do. I got so many messages from people saying, you're the only show that I heard do that. That was really, really awesome. Thank you. Thank you for that. For men and women alike, which I thought was, I don't know. I didn't think about it going into it, but it seems to have resonated with our listeners. And for that, I am truly grateful because it means that our listeners are the type of people that we want to talk to. So thank you. Thank you for that. Yes. Go on.
Dos Equis sales went up 22% in the U.S. after they introduced the most interesting man in the world in 2008.
Yeah. Marketing, advertising, when you do it creatively, it's an art. It works. When you're not just screaming at somebody in a gorilla suit about low prices on used cars, although I would watch that
works
ad.
Too, yeah.
Yeah, so it's by the same thing that makes you watch the guy in the gorilla suit screaming about used cars is why people are watching watching all the debates so much in this day and age. But it really is a testament to the power of creative advertising. When you do it right, when you actually have smart people coming up with things that are interesting to the public, that don't pander to the lowest common denominator, when you actually have something creative in place, it really can work. Dos Equis sales went up 22% in the U.S. after they introduced the most interesting man in the world back in 2008. We don't often give you imported beer sales statistics, but when I do, it's about Dos Equis.
Also, what a great role to get as an actor.
The guy was just like no one. And what's interesting is he's Hispanic. The most interesting man in the world has like this sort of Inigo Montoya from The Princess Bride accent, where he's clearly meant to be Hispanic. And of Castilian descent, I believe. I think he's supposed to be Spanish. And that would make sense because it's Dos Equis. But
you know what Dos Equis stands for?
2 X's?
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. So, like, Dos Equis, beer guy, most interesting man in the world, supposed to be this Hispanic Castellan gentleman. I think he's extremely Jewish and from New Jersey. Like, when you hear him talk, it's like, don't look it up. If you are into the myth of the most interesting man in the world, don't blow it by seeing any of the interviews with the actor who plays him. Yeah, it sucks all the magic right out of it. Go on.
The International House of Pancakes gave customers free pancakes yesterday for National Pancake Day.
I was so mad about this. Like, I love delicious pancakes. I really, really do. Love pancakes. But you know what? First and foremost, I find it a little disrespectful that they'd be like, I know it's International Women's Day, but let's throw pancakes in there too. There's room for that, you know. But I don't know. I don't know which came first, Pancake Day or Women's Day. So the moral conundrum that you reach when having two holidays adjacent on the same day, I'm going to leave that one alone. But because we're so focused on International Women's Day, I completely neglected the fact that if you're a flapjack lover, you could get free delicious pancakes at IHOP. It totally passed me by. It was mad. It really craped up on me.
Aw. That's good. Mm-hmm. Well done.
Not Karate Kid.
No, not yet.
Not karate. No.
Close.
I was mad that I missed the other food-related holiday that I liked the day before. On Monday, it was International Cereal Day, and I really like cereal, and because I missed it, I feel like a flake.
Okay.
Doesn't mean as much when you do it begrudgingly. Go on.
A former worker at the Brinks Money Processing Company has been accused of stealing $200,000 in quarters.
Oh, wow. In his defense, it was Laundry Week. All right, what is the smoking gun that Ted Cruz says he has on Donald Trump? We'll get into that next. Thank you so much for hanging out. Tweet us at ADSXE at Funk FM.
With the feelings that are associated with the sad life that I'm bringing, the tears and the singing. Being alive isn't a gift when there's so much you have missed, and so little ringing true with the words to you by the people you trusted. When it all came down to choosing your ideals, developing your fears. Why sports are always part of your life? How with all the love I have, I'm still alone.
There's something happening here, and you should know what it is. The Dumbing Up of America. Now, more AD on the radio.
So you know all those annoying headlines in the margins of everything that you look at on the internet? You know the ones that say, like, this person just shut down that with one simple sentence. Like, this 14-year-old boy just shut down big pharmaceutical with one classroom experiment. And you're tempted to click on it and read it. This person just destroyed the GOP's argument for that. This guy just made mincemeat of the Democrats' argument for this. It's so annoying. But that's a sort of, if we are to believe the rumors and speculation that are floating around, Ted Cruz has one of those in his back pocket. Ted Cruz is ready to shut down Donald Trump's entire campaign with this one piece of information. What is it? Click here. Although that is the rumor that is floating around. He does have one piece of information on Donald Trump that is going to take him out of the game completely. What's he saying about it? We'll get into it in just a little bit. Right now, though, I wanted to touch on something that we started to talk about yesterday on the show, and we ran out of time. And it's one of those things that I don't want to try and squash it into one segment because we're up against a break. And this is one of those things that I honestly believe the reaction to it. Look, the reaction to it has made me feel like this is something that needs to be talked about a little bit. And what happened was this. There was a naked woman. She caused an accident when she ran onto a highway in Houston, Texas, and twerked on top of a truck. 25-year-old woman. She got into 2 hit-and-run accidents yesterday, or the day before yesterday in Houston. She parked her car, ran out onto the interstate 100% naked, caused a 3-car pileup, climbed on the hood of an 18-wheeler, and started twerking. Massive delay while cops and firefighters tried to get her down. Since it's Texas and it's rodeo time, they even tried to lasso her. I'm not laughing at her. I'm laughing at the fact that lasso is an option. And hey, look, you got to get creative in these challenging situations when you're looking after public safety. After about 2 hours, some cops jumped up onto the hood with her, got her into handcuffs, and she was taken in for a mental evaluation. So, fire department, and people have been having a field day with this. I was having a field day with it, too, because, I spent a good portion of my time in Houston, and some friends of mine were on that road, saw that happen, sent me pictures, and they're like, this crackhead is doing this. There's definitely drugs involved, and it seems like it was, crack, bath salts, meth, whatever you want to blame it on. It could 100% have been any of those things. And if it is those things, then you know what? I will pile on because I think drugs are bad. And I think people should see the effects of drugs and drug abuse on your life and the negative impact. And I don't think we should be soft on drug use. There's this idea that, what was it that, Mitch Hedberg said. He's like, they say alcoholism is a disease, but it's the only disease that people will yell at you for having. Damn it, Otto, you're an alcoholic. No one ever says, damn it, Otto, you have lupus. Makes a valid point. But I do believe in being tough on drug users and drug abuse. It's my own little way of doing what I can to stomp it out. And I know a lot of people arrive at the conclusion that they should use or abuse drugs for a lot of different reasons, and there's a lot of different things behind it. But at some point, you're an adult that's been blessed with all your faculties and a decision-making ability and a place in this world, and you need to adult up and own your mistakes if you are heavily involved in drugs. And if this woman had this episode as a result of drug abuse, then, that's a you problem, not a me problem, is what I would say to her. But here's the thing. While initially it looked like it was drug abuse, I wanted to bring up what one of the fire department said when they were figuring out the situation. Who said, our biggest challenge was treating the patient with respect and dignity and getting her down safely. And recalled that commuters were shouting insults and jokes as they drove by. It was really tough trying to keep things calm when people were driving by and yelling and not being very nice about things. Now, if it is a matter of drug abuse, then you're a junkie and you're messing with everybody's day and you caused a bunch of accidents, and that's deplorable and that's awful. But you know what? We don't know. An eyewitness said it was saddening. It was shocking. And as time went on, it became less funny and more saddening. And if you're there, I honestly believe you can see pain or desperation in someone's eyes and in someone's actions. And if an eyewitness says that, I kind of believe it. And it raised an interesting question about the way we treat people in this country with mental illnesses. And you know what? We don't understand these things a lot of the time. We don't. We just don't. And look, we brought this up on the show a bunch of times, and I'm going to continue bringing it up because it's important. If you're in the grocery store and somebody is in a wheelchair. What are you going to do? You're going to be like, oh, I'm sorry, am I in your way? Hey, do you need help reaching that on that shelf? All right, cool. Can I be of any assistance to you? Or at the very least, hold the freezer door open while you try and figure out which delicious, tasty treat you're going to be microwaving tonight? That's how you treat somebody in a wheelchair. If someone who had a mental illness came in, if someone came in who was, I don't know, call it any number of things, someone who had Tourette's, someone who was schizophrenic, someone who had something that made them behave in a way that wasn't understandable or relatable to you, what would you do? You'd be like, oh, I'm just going to back away from this one. I mean, they're clearly having problems, but I'm not going to ask if they need help. In fact, I might even call security because it's making me feel itchy and uncomfortable. And look, when people are unpredictable, it does give you legitimate concern for your safety. Did this woman in the middle of the highway dancing naked on top of an 18-wheeler in freeway, on top of an 18-wheeler on a freeway in Houston she caused a bunch of accidents and then probably caused a bunch more by slowing traffic down. And that's understandable. You do have concern for your safety in those situations. If you've got a kid and there's somebody that is acting unpredictably, I suppose, is the best way of putting it. I think that is where the fear comes in. When someone acts in a way that you can't understand, if someone is being unpredictable, you don't know. You don't know that person. You don't know if they are potentially dangerous. I mean, especially, like I said, if you have a child and someone is doing something that makes you have cause for concern about that child's safety or your safety, that is understandable. But I suppose what I'm getting at is that we don't know. We don't know the situation. We don't know what this person's going through. We don't know what's going on in their life, and we also don't know what sort of hand they have been dealt. So bearing that in mind, when something happens, when something happens where you are inconvenienced, when you are scared by another person's behavior, you have to look after yourself. You have to be safe. You have to do what is right to protect you and your family. And maybe take steps to remove yourself from what could be a dangerous or volatile situation. But always, when given the opportunity to make a choice between mockery and kindness, when it comes to a person whose situation you know nothing of, I would implore you to always act first with kindness. Speaking of tenuous, dangerous situations, when was the last time you were in Costco?
You guys like Costco? The membership fee is worth the high you get from the forklift exhaust. Kirkland diamonds, anyone? I'm not afraid to get my diamonds where I get my salsa. Tiffany's is great, but I can't eat a churro while I check out. They have this new thing at the Costco by my house. It's called a pizza hotline, and it is a rotary phone that is hanging on a column. So while you're waiting in line with your 4,000 bags of cashews, you can pick this up and order a hot, tasty pizza. So on your way out then, you can then eat the pizza, bring it home. Okay, if you want to know how gross this pizza is, you just have to look at the pigeons who are eating the crumbs. They all have broken wings, milky eyes, type 2 diabetes. Do you get it? I'm fancy.
Comedian Natasha Leggero. Do you go to Costco, Funkhauser? You a Costco person or a Sam's Club person?
I used to.
That's right. You stayed in a relationship for too long because she had a Costco card.
Yeah, man. Gas prices were outrageous.
There are really good savings to be, like, some things you really got to compare because, like, they get you on the fact that you go, oh, it's Costco, everything must be cheap. So, yeah, I'm just going to buy everything there. And a lot of the things there are not that hot a deal. But if, there are sweet savings to be had on many things at Costco, and gasoline is one of them. It's true. How long did you stay in this relationship with this woman past
shorts,
its expiration date?
Books, giant vats of mayonnaise. I don't know. Too long.
You know what I got from Costco the other day?
What?
Salmon patties.
Oh,
Like,
yeah?
for
I
salmon.
miss meat.
They're pretty good salmon patties and the economy size barrel of pesto, like, which is delicious, and actually that does come at a pretty good price. And no, it doesn't taste like the pesto you get in the artisanally formed glass jars at the grocery store, which you need to take out a third mortgage for. It's just like, I could have pesto on the sandwich, or kids could go to college. Okay, delicious basil. The kid wasn't that good at math in the first place, but it's not as good as that pesto. But you spread it on a Sammy Sam, and you put it. You put pesto on top of a salmon patty from Costco. That's delicious eating right there. And you know what? They're not giving us any money. In fact, Costco takes a lot of my money on a monthly basis. So there you go. That's a testament to it. You know what they found out? They found out. You know those delicious rotisserie chickens? Have you ever eaten a Costco rotisserie chicken?
Hungry now.
$4.95. Like $4.95 for a rotisserie chicken that is, without a shadow of a doubt, freaking delicious. So good. And I was like, this has to be fake, because there's no way this is cost effective for them to do this. This isn't a chicken. This is genetically engineered chicken-esque meat that they pump full of steroids, and it will probably kill me. It's probably instant cancer as I eat it. But you can't get chicken this delicious for $4.95. And as it turns out, you really can't. It is legit chicken. There's nothing wrong with it. But it turns out that Costco actually take a loss on the delicious rotisserie chickens because they know people are coming in there for them, and that results in impulse buys. And at Costco, an impulse buy can cost you like $73. So, it's worth that. And have you ever noticed that every Costco you ever go to, the place where you get the rotisserie chickens from, is at the very back of the store. So you have to pass literally every single item in Costco before you get your $4.95 rotisserie chicken. But man, the rotisserie chickens at Costco, if you want to appear like you care when you don't, say you're having guests over that you have to vaguely impress. Oh, we didn't get to Ted Cruz's smoking gun.
Aww.
Got distracted by delicious chicken stories. Anyways,
tomorrow.
Yeah, Cruz says the media is sitting on a bombshell about Donald Trump, and he'll release it in the 11th hour and torpedo his campaign. Will he give us details? Hell no, he won't, because, that doesn't equal.
How many inches is it?
Apparently not as many as we thought. Allegedly, according to Cruz, not all of Donald Trump's poll numbers are as impressive as he'd have us believe.
You know how a lot of times you feel like it's cool to turn the other cheek and give people the benefit of the doubt even when they don't deserve it.